Today we got Trap Lord Ross. Go like, comment, subscribe, 100K journey to 1 mil. Today we got the cursed night King Von died. R.I.P. King Von.
Uncut and extended, go to patreon.com/traplawross where you can get those for just $2. This video particularly is a lot easier to follow if it's not blurred. Also, you can now watch my new drops on Spotify, so go search me there.
Well, we're on YouTube, so we cannot watch it like that.
The death of King Von rocked the hip-hop scene and triggered untold destruction onto the streets of America. On November the 6th, 2020, in the early hours of the morning, Von decided to unleash an unprovoked beating on Savannah rapper Quando Rondo. King Von had a reputation as one of
started a war with that.
Chicago's most feared gangster rappers, having gotten away with a rumored 7 murders and surrounded by an army of gang members with dozens of bodies.
That was crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy. And then most of them all got arrested or either died.
Between them, he must have truly felt untouchable. But on that fateful night, King Von and his Black Disciple goons massively underestimated their opponents and became victims of their own cockiness. Because what they didn't predict is that when King Von sucker punched Quando Rondo, he would be backed up by his own gang of goons from the underestimated city of Savannah, Georgia. A city that didn't have the same reputation for violence as Chicago, but certainly had its fair share of killers. After King Von punched Quando, his best friend Lil Tim, a notorious Savannah shooter,
up the pool,
out the car, and without hesitation,
I ain't saying he was wrong, but I mean, I'm not saying like he was supposed.
Loaded his pistol in Von's direction, hitting him in the spine, and leaving him paralyzed and clinging onto Quando for dear life. Von and his friends were caught slipping that night, and after Von was shot, they would drag his body to the car, speeding off to the hospital, where unfortunately he wouldn't survive. But to this very day, a number of unanswered questions remain.
That was his car too. He just got that car not that long ago.
That King Von lost his life. Like, how did the police know this?
He got that car like I think a week prior or that week. Going into that club, which is
going to happen. Why did the cops open fire, killing one of Von's best friends and hitting another in the head, culminating in his death only a few years later? And who was the person who managed to shoot Lil Tim? How did Von know that Quando was going to be in that parking lot, and why did he punch him? And most importantly of all, was this just a random encounter where Quando and Tim managed to protect themselves, or was this a premeditated murder carefully plotted out to bait Von into a trap that he wouldn't be able to survive? Well, now, 4 years on, with the power of video enhancement, newly released police reports, interviews, and body cam footage, we can finally answer the question that's been plaguing hip-hop for 4 years since the fateful night this all went down. Was King Von killed in self-defense or murdered in an elaborate setup?
I don't think it was a setup. I think it was just all coincidental. But did Von play a part into him dying? That's for sure. I think it's don't quote me, but Matthew 26:27. If I'm right, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Nope, yep, I'm wrong. I will edit that out. Alright. Whoop whoop. Let me edit. But anyways. Matthew 26:52. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And King Von was supposedly a murderer, so I'm not saying, he should have died like that, but it's not, it's not surprising that he did that happened to him. But I don't think it was planned.
Recap the events that
I don't think it was planned. It was for sure just coincidental. Von seen them at a party. He pulled up.
Infamous night when Von lost his life, and exactly why King Von would want to throw an unprovoked punch that ultimately led to his death, we have to go back to the beginning of Von's career in rap. In late 2017, right as Von was about to be released from jail after beating his murder charge.
Dang, that's crazy. They got all the videos.
Lil Durk would drop his one and only collab song with NBA Youngboy, the song My Side. There was a level of respect and admiration between these two singing street rappers from different parts of America. Von winds up getting out of jail a little while later, and Lil Durk begins to groom him for a career as a rapper rather than a killer.
Yeah. You know. Look how you looking at it though. You know it. Look at it.
Then, shortly before Von would release his breakout hit, Crazy Story, in December 2018, Durk would feature for the first time in the same song with Youngboy's artist Quando Rondo. This being the Shy Glizzy song Problems, released in October 2018, where Durk would even shout out Quando in his verse, rapping how Quando sips red lean, but Durk knows he's a Crip. The point here being that at one point in time, everything was seemingly good between Durk, Youngboy, Quando, and their respective OTF and NBA crews, with Durk famously sharing a very similar style of auto-tune infused gangster pain music that Youngboy and Quando arguably played a central role in popularizing. However, for reasons that likely only people close to Von know, something would happen that would make Von have animosity towards Youngboy. And seemingly out of nowhere, in early March 2019, Von would hop on IG Live and call out Youngboy, claiming that he had cap in his rap, or that he was lying about his gangster past.
Youngboy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
He talking crazy on this man.
Oh yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On his ass now. Cap. You got cap in your raps.
It's still not clear to what extent Von was being serious or whether he was just trying to troll a friend, as by the end of the same month he was calling out Youngboy, Von could be seen hanging out with Quando Rondo at the backstage of a show where Lil Durk was present too, with Quando even participating in dissing Von's ops from 63rd Street in Chicago. The two
that's kind of weird then. So if... Wait, what? So if Von was dissing...
Or whether he was just trying to troll a friend.
By
the end of the same month he was calling out Youngboy, Von could be seen hanging out with Quando Rondo at the backstage of a show where Lil Durk was present too, with Quando even participating in dissing Von's ops from 63rd Street in Chicago, the two even wearing matching outfits.
Hey, come on, right now, tee up. 63rd. Now we coming, I'm pulling up.
You know, we on 64.
We got most of this.
Hey, we on 64 with this shit.
I don't get your man, your teeth shining like a mother on this. Hold on, get your teeth in that bit. Damn!
Y'all steal some shit from me. Y'all 64. Y'all stealing. Y'all steal some shit. I'm saying though, they are 63rd. Dirty.
Now, this was strange, as it happened after Von dissed
That is kind of
Youngboy and said that he was a cap rapper. Perhaps being seen to be friendly with and getting Quando to diss their ops from Chicago, this could have come across like a power move from Durk and Von, who was trying to rub it into Youngboy's face.
I think he was trying to, yeah, he was.
Durk would even suggest in a later interview with DJ Academics that him and Von were actually bullying Quando backstage that day.
I used to have him like this. You mean Quando? Saying 63rd. Me and Von. Yeah. There's video of this? Google it. No, I ain't.
Google it.
Have him in the head like, oh yeah. I'm telling like, he was the same one for saying 63rd.
But strangely from here.
Yeah.
Von would still seemingly keep a positive public relationship with Youngboy, sometimes even mentioning him on social media and even giving him a welcome home message following Youngboy's release from jail in August 2019, adding a slightly nasty edge, ending the message calling him ugly, along with a demon, hawk and rocket emoji that could have been seen to have a double meaning or suggested that Von was looking for Youngboy. Durk too was still clearly cool with both Youngboy and Quando, even mentioning both in his 50 best rappers of all time list that he posted that same month in August.
Was it on purpose? Were they out or... were they actually not
However,
cool?
slowly, it was becoming clear that there was something about Youngboy that really irked Von. He would regularly imitate Youngboy's mannerisms, like he was trying to make fun of him.
Oh, as my grandma raised me, you hear me? You know I ain't no hoe. What up?
My grandma raised me. No, I ain't no hoe. What up?
You know I ain't no.
Perhaps the issue was that in Von's eyes, Youngboy had fooled the fans to think that he was the realest and hardest street rapper out there, while Von thought that this title belonged to him. After all, he had beaten an actual murder charge and allegedly had gotten away with many more. This juxtaposition would be on full display.
Man, I'm talking that bold blank, though. NBA Youngboy drops tonight. That shit might be the realest rapper since the Chirac drill era. Name another rapper with the blank in their rap. With the blank in their raps in real life other than him, I'll wait.
In October 2019, as DJ Academics would tweet that NBA Youngboy was the realest street rapper since the original Chirac drill era, while challenging fans to name another artist who had really lived the life they rapped about, to which Durk would respond with King Von, together with an emoji that implied that Durk was shocked that it wasn't evident to Academics that Von was the obvious answer to this question. Another possible reason for the beef would emerge in November 2019, when Von would drop the song
I heard about that
Pull In with YNW Melly.
I heard YNW W Melly got in a fight with YoungBoy too.
Even appearing in that video wearing matching outfits. Perhaps a reference to the earlier clip with Von and Quando wearing matching fits.
What's up with these matching fits though? What the fuck?
Maybe a subtle dig that Von was now
what
siding with
fuck?
Melly over Quando. And this would be complicated by the fact an apparent brawl had taken place
I knew it.
between YoungBoy and Melly over Quando. And this would be complicated by the fact an apparent brawl had taken place between YoungBoy and Melly's entourages at a record label office where apparently Quando was involved too.
We put up in Atlanta. YoungBoy already outside looking like this. So like, Melly like, they go YoungBoy. I said, oh shit. Yeah, we might end up have to fade in. So when we walk in, it's like a gate. He came out, but when I came up, he went back in. But then like, he just started like, looking crazy still. Like I f with him, but I ain't friendly. Like I ain't finna look scared and say what's up to you. So I asked him, "You straight?" Me and Drew we were like, "Straight." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm straight." You mean?
Oh shit. He was like, yeah, I'm straight. The fuck you mean? Yeah, I'm straight.
Then he kept looking. And then I said, "You straight again?" Like I said, "Ask him, you straight again?" And then got down. His homeboys came creep-toeing like a damn penguin and shit. And then got down, asked him, they were just talking. I figured they just really wanted us to pop off so they could shoot or something, whatever. But they was just in our face talking. And then, same thing, Melly looking at the YoungBoy in the eyes, and he was like, "Nigga doing the eye shit." And it came up. YoungBoy like, he talking to the Eli dude, he like, "Bro, all that, man, I'm finna just pop off." So
oh shit.
Popped off, he hit Melly, boom, but it's some weak shit, like, you would think he's strong, but like, body like dead. He hit his ass, boom. So like, Melly, when he hit him, Melly hit him 2 times, boom, boom. And that's when I popped off on him. Popped off on YoungBoy. And then his came after me. And they started boom, 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 boom. Melly hit on the ground. But then I just said, F it. They already hit me. I just started, bah, 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 swinging back at their ass.
Oh
started
shit.
Cleared up.
Oh shit, I didn't even know that was
that.
He had that long.
Dude broke it up. They ran out the room. Then they came back in there. Quando Rondo came in there at that time. They started jumping me. Boom, 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 boom.
Damn.
Caught Quando Rondo ass in the forehead. Boom. He caught my ass back in the forehead. Jumped up in the sky. Jumped on my chest. Nigga ran out. Niggas always running though. Everybody always running from my ass. They ran out. So then YoungBoy tried to jump. Come hit my ass too with Melly caught his boom. Hit his ass. Boom. It was over.
So clearly things were complicated behind the scenes, and it seemed that YoungBoy and Quando were now having fistfights in label offices with one of Von's new best friends. But still,
crazy.
in February 2020, King Von would suggest that he and YoungBoy had worked on music together, even calling on
Nah,
YoungBoy
he was trolling.
to
Yeah, he
release the
was
track,
trolling.
with the tweet seemingly hinting that
trolling
YoungBoy had been blocking it. In July 2020,
He's
Von's
trolling.
earlier comments during an Instagram Live would resurface as major rap media outlet Hip Hop
Yeah, he's
DX would make a
trolling.
news piece about it, making the rivalry
Dang.
increasingly public. And what happened next would make the beef ramp up to the point of no return, as Von would famously begin to hang out with YoungBoy's baby
Damn,
mother.
I remember that one.
And even claimed that the two had made a sex tape together.
And then YoungBoy said, "I'm gonna get my son. I'm gonna have him fuck your daughter for disrespecting me." What the fuck? So I'm gonna have my son and I'm gonna raise him to fuck your daughter just for disrespecting me.
Understandably, with YoungBoy, who would fire back with an Instagram post.
He said, "I'm gonna make sure that my son fuck your daughter since you trolling 4K."
Clearly aimed at Von, captioning it with a disturbing.
Imagine that. Imagine that saying, "Well, guess what? I'm gonna have my son grow up and fuck your daughter just for you trolling me. Make sure."
Line, saying that he'll make sure that his son sleeps with King Von's daughter, taking them back and forth to a brutally personal level. By this point, the tension between King Von and YoungBoy had spilled way beyond just the two of them, now including numerous people from both camps, like Lil Durk and King Von's longtime friend Lil Reese, who would tweet out a direct threat saying that he planned to put
I
hands
ain't
on
gonna lie
King
though, they both lost this war. Like, they both
when he
lost
sees
sides
him.
to
But
this.
Quando would clap back, saying
Both
that
lost
Reese
people.
and Chicago rappers in general weren't really about that life and wouldn't actually do anything to him. Then there was also Quando's right-hand man, an infamous Savannah shooter named Lil Tim, who would take to Twitter, publicly warning Von, Durk, Reese, and any Chicago rappers from trying anything funny with Quando. Days after this tweet,
Get a
YoungBoy
back door.
would drop the song Dead Trolls that took aim directly at Von, downplaying Von's street credentials and rumored 7 murders, with YoungBoy clapping back saying that he had done 7 murders of his own.
Tell that boy I'ma see him. Tell him I don't care fishing around this lake, bitch, that's real. And 7 murders in my own town, tell them besides I did that. As soon as the other boy touched down, I'm gonna be pushing his wig back.
In his home
Dead Trolls.
town, and that Von will be next if he comes to the city.
Forgot about Dead Trolls. Let's listen to that real quick. That song goes hard. I didn't know he was talking about King Von. I did not know he was talking about King Von. Who's this ugly chick?
I'm mad, man. Nigga, tell that bitch that soon pushing his wig back. Dog ass so chasing after go fuck around with the op niggas.
Oh, okay. He did say that.
He would address his baby mama being seen with Von, saying he's really trying to have a shootout with OTF, and revealing the reason Von was really mad was because he wouldn't clear a feature for him, and most crucially, revealing that he has plans on hurting someone in Atlanta who wants to get up with him. At this point, Von followed Dirk's example and moved far away from the killing fields in the south side of Chicago where he had made his name, telling XXL magazine in an interview 2 weeks before his death that he indeed lived 50 minutes from downtown Atlanta, and unfortunately, whether by coincidence or design, the very things that Youngboy said would happen actually did end up unfolding in the streets for all to see. But while it seemed that Youngboy was rapping that he was itching to catch Von in Atlanta, Von was openly claiming that he didn't like how his ops were behaving and that he was planning to smack someone when he sees them. In his $1 million worth of game interview recorded shortly before his death, Von elaborated on people he didn't like, unfollowing him and picking sides, a clip which many believe was referring to Quando and Youngboy, with Von admitting that all of this activity makes him want to smack someone when he sees them, especially if they try and act like things are cool.
Obviously, Quando's gonna pick Youngboy. Youngboy signed Quando. Youngboy put Quando on. It wouldn't make sense for Quando not to be back. Come on, bro.
We like say you don't fuck with it, but you with another nigga. But I guess he'll fuck with that nigga too. Harder than he fuck with you, so he don't fuck with you. You'll start seeing niggas on following you and shit on Instagram and shit. Stop talking to you and niggas will get there, you know. But you'll see we get closer. You like what the. Like that's his here.
You like, I don't got no issue with you.
Nah, it's cool. It could be like that if that's how they want it to be. Cause I'm with that. I like that. Like let me know what it is though. But then when they let you know, see you again, be there. Yeah. And you don't want to smack his so fun, but you'll be wrong. Cause it really ain't like that. Right. They be acting like that.
Sadly, both sides would ultimately get what they were asking for.
Well, guess what? Yep.
Brings us to that fateful night that Von and Quando finally ran into each other.
Finally ran into him.
In mid-October, a release party for Von's new album, Welcome to O-Block, was announced to go down on November 5th at the Opium nightclub in downtown Atlanta.
Yo, ATL, what's up?
Was announced to go down on
November 5th
at the Opium nightclub in downtown Atlanta.
Imagine, damn.
Yo, ATL, what's up? It's your boy King Von, my official album release party Thursday, November 5th. Y'all come pop out. I'm at a whole O-Block in that bitch, the whole OTL. Pull up.
And at the end of October, the big day would arrive, as Von would release his highly anticipated project, Welcome to O-Block, releasing on October the 30th, interestingly the birthday of his former right-hand man and certified O-Block killer, T-Roy, and coincidentally, the night before Halloween 2020. This night of October 30th is a day and month that's incredibly important to Von. Not just being T-Roy's birthday, this was allegedly around the time he had committed his second murder, the killing of P5, real name Derek Johnson, a gruesome early morning murder, which Von tweeted about extensively before and after carrying it out. This actually being the second of 2 murders that Von allegedly did in October of 2012, something that he would allude to on the opening track of the project, Armed and Dangerous, with Von eerily tweeting in November 2012 about the 2 bodies he caught in October and telling fans to stay tuned and find out who will die in November. Unfortunately, Von himself would end up getting a November death date 8 years after this very tweet, and to the very day of these 2 tweets that he made mocking his first 2 victims. Ultimately, King Von's gangster killer energy would end up being his downfall. So after he dropped his Welcome to O-Block project on T-Roy's birthday and the anniversary of his second murder, and getting a good response from his audience, with one person on Reddit commenting how the album was banging, but he was predicting that unfortunately Von would not be able to enjoy his success due to his reckless behavior, giving an example of a vlog where Von dropped off big stacks of money to his gang in O-Block a little while before this album came out.
She coming or not? Great.
The FBI was already watching him.
Yeah. You know. You know,
I might be something nice now, boy. Look.
The commenter seemingly predicted the O-Block Rico that Von would have likely gone down with, together with the so-called O-Block 6 for the murder of FBG Duck, had he not lost his life on this day. But meanwhile, the beef would once again escalate as rumors started flying that Von's ex-girlfriend Asian Doll had linked up with Youngboy, as leaked DMs from people in Youngboy's circle hinted at the meetup. And then, in early November, Youngboy would drop a preview as leaked DMs from people in Youngboy's circle hinted at the meetup. And then, in early November, Youngboy would drop a preview of a new track with Asian Doll called Meet the Reaper, a title that many took as a not-so-subtle shot in the middle of a growing beef. Von would keep responding to Youngboy, calling the song garbage, while saying that his and Janeer's song was way better, not to mention the cover, which was another obvious reference to a potential sex tape that the two had supposedly made together. However, in an interview with DJ Academics, premiered on November the 4th, just before that cursed night, Von would brush off the whole situation, saying that the internet was making the beef bigger than it really was.
People told me you and Youngboy was beefing or something like that. You said something about what happened, Von? What's going on with you, man?
They be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same interests, and then you know how the internet will try to make it.
Don't tell me I got problems over girls.
Why Academics everywhere, bro? Academics be interviewing everybody.
It's the internet, gang. It's the you know. They'll try to make it like that because it's the internet. You see what I'm saying? And then you know how females just.
Bro interviewed Dirk right before he went to jail.
Like that, because they females, and they'll try to make it like one more hard and try to. It be just all type. But it ain't nothing too serious, nothing you should worry about.
But sadly, Von had no idea just how real things were about to get, as the following day, on the 5th of November, Von would seemingly spend the day shopping and getting ready for his album release party that was planned later that night.
Wait.
Man, come on.
I'm trying.
Man, you too young. You like old ass me. Your name Granddaddy.
Not Granddaddy.
Hey, Granddaddy.
Granddaddy, that's how he got his name.
Cheating. That don't count. Yeah, come on.
He would also tweet saying that a new music video for that song, Armed and Dangerous, which I mentioned previously, would be dropping the following day. But ultimately, after what unfolded, this
that is wild.
Music video would ultimately end up coming out in January 2021, posthumously. November the 5th.
Damn, that's wild.
Would also happen to be the birthday of Boss Top, one of Von's oldest friends from his hood in O Block. And he would even go live on their Instagram where he would talk about their plans for the night.
Fell on top of the table. Hey, you know I'm gonna act bad, man. Hey, what y'all finna do now? What you want?
We got the party at what's called Opium today.
That's
Atlanta.
Gang.
Leno say happy birthday. Oh yeah, tell Leno I said love, man. Tell him I can put water on this. Still ain't gonna break.
Lil Durk would even call Boss Top to wish him a happy birthday, where he would turn his camera to King Von, who was sitting next to him, seemingly in the moment not remembering that Von and Durk were not allowed to be in any kind of contact with each other due to them being co-defendants in an attempted murder case from 2019, with Von then seemingly slapping the phone out of Boss Top's hand, while Durk would quickly get off live, and Boss Top ended the live too.
Phone him, man. Tell him.
Yeah. You know my boy right here.
Oh shit.
This moment caught on camera sadly would be the last time that Lil Durk saw King Von alive, and later in that night, the whole of the O Block crew would meet up. Sadly would be the last time that Lil Durk saw King Von alive, and later in that night, the whole of the O Block crew would meet up at an Airbnb before heading to the album release party.
It was just a horrible night. Not per se like the whole night, because it was a lot of fun. You know,
Pretty sure leading up to the whole shit.
A good time at the hotel. We were celebrating the album, going #1 on Apple Music. You know what I'm saying? It was Boss Top birthday.
You already know. Good luck. The Gatorade right here.
I'm trying to be rude, but like, damn, there's hella people in one room. What the fuck? You got me fucked up. There's 1, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10.
TK.
Damn, you got 10 people in one room. Damn. 10, 11, 12. Damn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, like 12 people in a room is crazy.
At around 11 PM, Von and his entourage would head out to the party at the Opium nightclub, with Von seemingly going live on Instagram on the way to the party.
Whoever sent me these hats, good luck. I put that. I lost the hat. I got like 10 of these bitches. Y'all can stop sending them though. I got enough of them. I'm gonna get to my homie and them. See what I'm saying? Y'all sending too many of them, bro.
I was like,
again at the club itself, pinning his own comment with the name of the club for everyone to see, essentially dropping the location on himself, whilst also tweeting it out right after midnight, clearly not concerned one bit about someone in Atlanta catching him lacking, perhaps even to a certain extent trying to bait his enemies into popping out for a confrontation with him and his massive posse of gangsters. Meanwhile, Quando Rondo would be hanging out with his crew somewhere in Atlanta, posting a story of them toting some heavy weaponry with their outfits, seemingly suggesting that they were fresh off the music video shoot for a song called The Drop that Quando had made with Young'uns, a track ironically all about getting your enemy's location and going to kill them. Meanwhile, was having a great time in the club, celebrating his album release, surrounded by his childhood friends from O Block like Boss Top, BJ, Muwop, Louis, Slutty, Prince Dre, and many others.
It's crazy how it went wrong though.
Shockingly, Von's DJ, DJU, would later say that he had also seen Quando, or at least his crew, at the Opium nightclub that very same night. Would later say that he had also seen Quando, or at least his crew, at the Opium nightclub that very same night.
Whose party was this album release party?
It was King Von album release party.
Okay.
But Dude and them was at the party.
Quando.
Yes, they was at the party. On my mama, they was at the party, bro.
What was Quando Rondo doing at the party? Was he there in support?
I knew it was them before I even knew it was them. Cause they was in that all black with them things. The handicap chair.
Right.
Cause I was DJing, you know what I'm saying? And I was looking in the crowd, seeing who was all, you know what I'm saying? I was on my P's and Q's that night. I wasn't tweaking on phone now. But I ain't think
he said I wasn't drinking, I wasn't tweaking. I was like, I was watching everybody.
No, nothing.
He said I was not
Around
tweaking
1 a.m., Von would exchange some tweets with the rapper Young and Ace, who he previously collaborated with on the song Trust Issues, with Ace seemingly going through some hard times, to which Von would respond with some words of encouragement on the song Trust Issues, with Ace seemingly
I don't know how much longer I can hang
going through some hard times, to which Von would
let go, you know, folks in them gonna catch.
Respond with some words of encouragement, telling him that he's good and that he should call Von if he has any trouble. Although perhaps due to Von's intoxication, he would end up writing "you food" instead of "you good," making it sound almost like he was due to Von's intoxication,
let go, you know, folks in them gonna catch you.
He would end up writing "you food" instead of "you good," making it sound almost like he was dissing Young and Ace. About an hour later, Von and his crew would decide to leave Opium, with fans capturing Von and his closest posse, entering a bulletproof truck and driving away, ironically, listening to Youngboy.
There'll be a lot of cars behind him. Kevon! Stop playing!
According to Von's manager 100K Track, their entire entourage that night was about 10 cars deep, and at this point, everyone thought they were heading back to the Airbnb, but somewhere along the way, they would lose track of Von's car.
We left Opium, which was his album release party. We're like, I think we're about 8-10 cars deep, 20-25 on entourage. Everybody mind leaving the club is that we're going to the hotel and the Airbnb, because that's normal routine. The club he went to, the after hours wasn't getting paid for. I didn't have no acknowledgement of. His team didn't have no acknowledgement of. That was a complete Von decision. And he had the right to make those decisions.
Y'all left Opium and went to a different club?
Which we didn't even know was going to act.
Why? Damn, why would he do that?
Okay, so the club that's in that security footage.
So basically the club.
That's not Opium.
This is because Von had decided to take a detour to the Monaco Hookah Lounge, which was located.
So he was at Opium and his album release party club that he was supposed to be
less than a mile away from the Opium nightclub. THF Bezu, who had been with Von at the album release party at Opium, would later recall during his No Jumper interview that he didn't know who influenced Von to go to another club, but that Von had been high off an E-pill that night, with his later medical report showing a large amount of ecstasy still in his blood, which could well have influenced his decision making.
Oh, for sure.
The album release party, she supposed to went to the Airbnb. I have no knowledge of why or who influenced. It was Top birthday too at the same time.
Bro was ready.
I don't got no knowledge on who influenced him to go to the other club. I know he was high off the pill for sure.
But it was very.
He was whispering in my ear, telling me like, hey man, this got me for like I'm high as hell. Man.
Somebody should have controlled him, bro. But I'm pretty sure nobody can control Von, but somebody should have like a mediator to control Von. Tell him, hey, now we're gonna go home.
Really?
We're going home.
Oh, you don't kid this. cat me, but I'm good though. You feel me? Like he was enjoying his high. You feel me?
According to a 100K track, it was only later when Von's DJ would call and let the rest of the entourage know that they were at the hookah lounge, when the rest of the crew would also reroute there.
So going out the club, he jumped into the bulletproof truck, and it was him and maybe two or three more individuals and the driver. So everybody else that was with us driving to the Airbnb or to the hotel. And Von literally went to the venue by himself. We got a call later from people in the car, like, hey bro, we here by, matter of fact, I think from his DJ was like, hey bro, you know we here by ourselves. Like, where you guys at? And everybody rerouted to that venue.
By the time 100K track and the others would arrive at the parking lot of the hookah lounge, Von was still hanging out in the bulletproof truck, where he was seemingly just chilling, listening to music and checking social media, making his last tweet around 3 a.m., eerily saying how you can put him
put me on any beat, I'ma murder that.
On any beat, and he would
do.
murder it, because murder is just what he does. Meanwhile, others from his crew were getting cold and confused, not really knowing why they were still hanging out in a parking lot instead of going inside the hookah lounge.
For some reason, Von wasn't himself. I'm not gonna lie. This is somebody who's more on point than security at. This is somebody I'm on the road with. I'm with him, like, cause he know how to move. He know how to pick spots. Like, yo, this man is like, I promise you, the best artist I ever moved in my life, as far as knowing how to conduct himself properly. But for some reason that night, it was off. Like, he stayed in the car for like 30-35 minutes, and everybody outside is cold and it's shivering. Like, everybody outside wondering, like, what's going on? So people starting to go back in the cars. Like, all the entourage, everybody was with, they went back in the car. So I went to the car he was in. I was like, yo, Von. Went inside the passenger seat. I'm like, yo, Von, bro, what's going on? Like, everybody here waiting, let's go. He was like, all right, let's go.
100K track would talk to Von, who said he was finally ready to go inside, and in preparation, Von's security would check.
They should have took his ass on. What you doing partying at 3 a.m., bro? I ain't trying to be rude, but anything that at 3 a.m.
the area for any threats, as well as unfortunately leaving their weapons inside the cars, as no weapons would be allowed inside the lounge.
This is where the security comes in.
Especially if you're King Von.
That time, we're telling security, hey, it's time to go in now. Von's ready. You know what I'm saying? We've been here too long. Let's go inside the club. So they do it around. They go inside the club. They check the venue. Go inside. Check the outside. Make sure there's no threat. Now, common sense, if you guys know, security, nobody cannot go inside a club with a weapon. No matter who you is, you cannot enter a building with a weapon, especially a venue. So being alert that we're going into the club, all security put their weapon inside their car.
But then, right as they were ready to move inside, one of Von's friends would allegedly approach him, telling him who they had just seen sleeping in another car in the same parking lot.
Right before we go inside the club, one of his homeboys came to the driver's side and they said, hey, we seen so-and-so. I'm not
Whoever said that is stupid.
Say no names. We seen so-and-so in the car. And instantly...
In the car or in the spot?
No, we seen he literally, our car is right here.
Yeah.
And so-and-so put up right there.
Damn!
So you had one car, which is one car before. You had another car, which is our car right here. And you had other people parked, scattered everywhere else. And one of Von homeboys came to him and was like, hey, we seen so-and-so in the car. He's asleep. And
That's crazy.
Jumped up. I'm talking about like...
Lil Tim, on the other hand, would later tell DJ Vlad that their entourage that night included just him, Quando Rondo, a friend, and a driver.
After our spot called the Monaco Hookah Lounge. Quando's there, you're there. Who else is there with you guys?
The driver that was with Quando and one of my partners who was in the car with me.
There's been some theories that Von actually knew that Quando would be at the hookah lounge that night, but people close to Von like THF Bezu has strongly denied this, saying that Von was actually sleeping when someone came to tell him about Quando, and that if Von had been there on purpose looking to catch Quando, he would have been acting very differently from the start.
Unless they was riding past.
He went there because they knew that Quando Rondo was going to be there, right?
No, hell no.
No?
Hell no.
So it was just a coincidence that they ended up in the same place?
Woke him up out of his sleep if he knew dude was there. Why was he asleep? Like,
but I think they said that he was sleeping, and then like somebody said, "Yo, that dude's here."
Right, they woke him up after they saw him there. But I don't. Me having no knowledge, okay. I don't think. Hell no, I don't think he knew he went there knowing.
Right.
Vaughn would have been on a whole different type of time if he knew he was on him. Like,
right.
That's just how like they woke him up out of sleep and told him. That's just that. Like, I ain't.
Does make sense if he
Yeah,
just
no.
found out in that moment, because everybody was kind of shocked by the fact that he would go there and just.
Yeah, you could tell
pop
the
out
way
and do
everybody
that.
was walking up and the way he was rushing, like, with his tapped him and told, like, man, dude, right here, you feel me? Like, you could see the whole scene. Like, you can peep it out for yourself. Like,
On the other hand, there had also been theories that Kwon knew that Von was at the lounge, and that Von was actually set up in an elaborate murder plot by Kwando and his crew. But these theories typically don't hold water and ultimately play out more like fantasy, because most likely what would happen next was nothing more than just a tragic coincidence. But whatever the case may be, as the security cameras at the scene would capture, after arriving at the parking lot, Kwando would walk to another car driven by Lil
Oh
Tim,
shit, that's crazy. What the fuck?
while Von can be seen
That's so wild.
appearing from behind.
God was right there and
the people
Von
in
was
his
right
entourage,
there.
together with people like Muwop, as they seemingly step out of the
Maha-
bulletproof truck.
oh,
Kwando
shit.
and the other people in his entourage, together
Von
with
hopped
people like
out.
Muwop,
Bro woke up. The demon woke
as they
up.
seemingly step out of the bulletproof truck. Kwando would later explain to Angela Yee during an interview that he walked back to the car to let his friends know the price of the parking, and that he wasn't even planning on going inside the lounge, but was only there to let his friend, who had just got out of jail, find him a girl before they went back home. Unfortunately, not long after, we can see as Von takes off and begins to walk towards Kwando,
Oh shit.
with all of his crew reacting to his movements and following behind. At the same time, Kwando seemingly begins to walk back towards his car right as Von is approaching him, seemingly doing exactly what he said he would do in his $1 million worth of game interview. Within just a split second, Von begins throwing wild punches to Kwando, who then backs up out of the view of the first camera to the view of another camera aimed at the entrance of the hookah lounge. While Von continues the furious attack with all of his crew behind him following suit, Von's friend Louis from O Block, who was also at the scene, would later explain to DJ Vlad that he wasn't surprised that Von would attack Kwando, as Von had told him that if he catches anyone from Youngboy's camp, it's on sight.
Von sees Kwando, he runs up on him, and they start fighting.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you when you saw that?
I mean, it ain't surprising because we had already talked about this, so it really ain't
They already talked about it.
surprising. Because he already said what he was going to do when he catch him, but...
However, what Von couldn't predict was that as soon as the fight started, one person would begin to approach them from the other side of the car, this being none other than Kwando's friend, the apparent shooter Lil Tim, who in just a few seconds takes out his gun and moves from the driver's seat to the back of the car
bro.
to have a direct view of Von and Kwando.
Oh.
Lil Tim would later tell DJ Vlad earlier that day he and Kwando had just been chilling at the house, and Tim had initially even refused to go out, but would eventually decide to join Kwando just to make sure that he was good.
We was just chilling at the house and smoking and stuff, you know. And they asked about going out, but I'm not an outgoing person. Like, I really don't go out like that before all this and all that stuff. So when they asked me, I told them I ain't want to go out. That's why you really gotta go to first mind when you think about stuff like that. But he said he was going out. He like, man, come on, man, let's go out, man. I got you. Like, he gonna pay for everything, and you ain't gotta worry about no tab and stuff. But I still feel like I don't be caring about that type of stuff. So I was like, man, I really don't want to go out. But if you going out, I'll go out with you just to go out with you, make sure you good and stuff like that. But I really ain't want to go out.
Tim would also mention to Vlad how keeping a gun on him at this point in his life was just automatic due to how he had grown up.
It's like
That's wild.
growing up where I'm from and being in the environment I'd already been in the past, that was just a regular thing you do. When
Bro,
you
like an
leave
automatic.
house, you take a gun with you just to make sure you're good.
This would turn out to be a critical decision, and at approximately 3:22 AM, Lil Tim would open fire on King Von without a moment's hesitation, with Von immediately falling to the ground while seemingly grabbing onto Kwando, who was already down from the beating that he had just
Matthew 26:52. Live by the gun, you die by the gun.
been receiving. The medical examiner's report on Von's body would later reveal that he had been shot a total of 4 times, one entering his left lower back and exiting his right hip, a second entering his left hip, peritoneal cavity, a third entering and exiting his right buttock, and the fourth
Damn.
one entering and exiting his left thigh before also going through his right thigh. One Redditor would later do a deep dive on these wounds, coming to the conclusion that the shot that would eventually end up killing Von was likely actually the first bullet, as it would end up puncturing numerous critical organs on its pathway from Von's back to his hip. But after the gunfire begun, the scene would immediately turn chaotic, but it was about to get a lot worse. Because what none of them had realized was that there was actually a police officer positioned directly next to them, sitting in his car directly to the left from where Von and his crew had been hanging out just seconds before. This officer perhaps being one of the 2 off-duty officers who were working as security at the hookah lounge that night. The body cam from this officer would later be uploaded online, showing how the officer was watching
really?
videos on YouTube as the shooting begun, the gunshots making him instantly react and get out of his car. Meanwhile, there would also be an officer in a car on the other side of the parking lot who would quickly react to the gunshots of his car. Meanwhile, there would be videos on YouTube as the shooting begun, the gunshots making
Bro,
him
just watching videos on
instantly
YouTube.
react and get out of his car. Meanwhile, there would also be an officer in a car on the other side of the parking lot who would quickly react to the gunshots and begin running towards the scene. Meanwhile, the chaos was still unfolding, and at this point we can't exactly be sure what happened next, but in the security footage aimed towards the parking lot, we can see as Von's friend BJ from O Block seemingly gets his gun out as soon as the fight begins, and after Lil Tim shoots Von, we can see everyone scattering. BJ seems to aim his gun towards Tim, possibly shooting him. This is supported by the fact that while the police report would state that Tim was hit in the hip, in an interview with DJ Vlad, he would specify that second shot was actually to his buttock, meaning that the shot was most likely coming from behind him.
Okay, so now you're shot, you're bleeding on the ground, and since you're shot in the legs, are you able to walk at all or no?
Nah, my left leg didn't really get shot, and then I didn't even know I got shot in the ass until I got to the hospital the next morning and stuff like that. But I knew I got shot in the hip because I felt that. So my right hip, I wasn't walking on that. Like, I pulled myself up from the back of the truck. Like, I pulled myself up, and I really, like, limped back to the door on my left leg, because my left leg wasn't hurting.
Moreover, BJ would seemingly later allude to him being the shooter of Lil Tim on social media, asking his followers if they could have shot someone while the police was right next to them. However, there's also at least 3 other theories about who shot Lil Tim that night. One is that Von's other good friend Slutty from O Block, real name Mark Blakely, who was positioned much closer to the fight, would take out his gun after Tim had shot Von and would aim it to Tim and open fire, right as Tim appeared again from behind the car, with Tim then immediately falling to the ground, at which point Slutty would try and finish the job, but his gun would jam. Slutty would then take off running towards the parking lot, but unfortunately the security footage from the parking lot cuts out here. But what we do know is that as the second officer would run across the parking lot, he would actually notice both Slutty and BJ running right in front of him. At this point, we can hear through the body cam of the first officer as someone shouts, "A gang, kill him," while another shouts, "He's right there, he's right there." Right after that, one gunshot rings out, after which the second officer immediately points his gun and opens fire, hitting both Slutty and BJ.
What?
Unfortunately, Slutty's injuries would prove fatal, and he would ultimately pass away, but BJ would end up surviving. However, the theory of Slutty being the shooter of Tim appears to have one problem, which is that there appears to be a person blocking his aim to Tim right as Tim gets shot. The person allegedly being a bodyguard who had arrived with Von and his entourage. This bodyguard also appears to possibly take aim at Tim as he appears from behind the car, perhaps then shooting him, at which point Tim would fall to the ground. After allegedly shooting Tim, the bodyguard would then immediately take off running, going all the way around the car and then running back towards the street, seemingly running after a person who appears from behind the car, both of them running right past the first police officer. And we can also see this from the officer's point of view through his body cam as he gets out of his car right in time to see the two running past him, after which he takes off running after them. Right at this moment, we hear gunshots coming back from the parking lot as Slutty and BJ are gunned down by that second officer, while the first officer ends up apprehending one person between two cars, this person likely being a member of Quando's entourage, which may well be the rapper Youngins, who had been recording that song The Drop with Quando, Rondo and Lil Tim earlier on that day.
Put your hands up now. Hands up. Hands up.
But the final theory about who shot Tim is that he was actually shot by Louis, real name Kevin Jones, who was yet another close friend of Von's from O Block. This theory is seemingly based largely on the fact that later, Louis would be charged in Atlanta for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. This would see many hip-hop news sites posting that Louis had been charged for shooting Tim. However, as we'll see next, there was in fact a whole nother shooting that Louis would take part in, which would take place shortly after Von and Tim had already been shot, as Quando's car was trying to escape. While all this running around is still going on, Quando and Von are still scuffling on the ground, while a wounded Lil Tim is trying to crawl to
Von still fight?
Safety. While the madness was unraveling everywhere, in the security footage, Von can still be seen laying on the ground with Quando, which would start rumors that Quando had been
still was holding on to him
to snatch Von's chain from his neck as Von was fighting for his life. However, Quando would later strongly deny this in his interview with Angela Yee. In fact, it rather seemed that Quando was really trying to help Von and lift him up.
It did look like he was trying to help him and like lift him up, but Von wasn't having it. Von kept trying to hit him.
One Redditor theorizing that Von's legs had in fact been paralyzed by the gunshots.
Yeah, he was paralyzed. He couldn't get up no more.
Von and lift him up, with one Redditor theorizing that Von's legs had in fact been paralyzed by the gunshots. He looks unable to stand up in the surveillance footage, and based on the location of the wounds, with shots in his back, hip, buttocks and legs, it's not unthinkable to believe that had Von actually survived, he may well have been confined to a wheelchair for the rest of.
Dang.
his life. But whatever the case, Quando's attempt will be interrupted by Von's friend, one of the alleged killers of the rapper FBG Duck, the infamous Obi-Wop, aka Marcus Smart, who would punch Quando with force, dropping him to the ground.
Yep.
Quando then heads to the car that Lil Tim was driving, and soon the car would reverse and take off, while Muwop and other members of Von's entourage help
to pick him
Von into another car that eventually drives off to the opposite direction. Shockingly, THF Bezu would tell during his No Jumper interview how he had gone to a Waffle House after the party at Opium, and while he was smoking outside the restaurant, he would hear shots going off in the distance, saying he immediately got the sense that Von and the others were involved.
As we was leaving out, he hopped in a bulletproof and shot off. He had texted me like we all finna meet up at the Airbnb. So that was the last thing I said. And me and all my guys that was in the car I was in went to the Waffle House. You know, I smoke cigarettes, bro. We at the Waffle House ordering something to eat. So I'm thinking they finna go to the Airbnb, so we at the Waffle House. But you know, while the guys ordering their food, I'm outside smoking a cigarette. And my phone door, I hear every shot, like I hear sound like Wild Wild West, gang. But this crazy part is like I felt it, but I didn't feel it. But I just knew it was the guys. Like something told me like that got to be for them. Like his lady said, we just left the club. You feel me? Like.
As Quando and Tim's SUV backed out in front of the car that Von ultimately got in and takes off, we would see O-Block Louis take chase and try and shoot Quando's car right in front of the police. In the body cam of the first police officer, we see as he's standing between two cars when Louis suddenly appears from the right side of the screen, running past the officer, wildly shooting towards the car containing Quando and Lil Tim as it fled the scene. The officer then quickly reacts and returns fire, shooting Louis in the head and leaving him laying on the floor, unconscious and fighting for his life.
Dang, they got. It's crazy,
I ain't moving. Look, got my hands hurt. I'm shooting, so I'm scared too. I'm shooting, so I'm scared, please. Bro, watch him. Watch him. I'm scared. I'm scared. Happy shots fired. 75 credits. Oh my God, bro, here. Hey, secure him. Help me here. Secure him. Secure him. Oh my God. Hey, Bill. Everybody here. Everybody here. So far. We have units around.
Entourage speeds off. Moments after Louis is shot, the Hellcat that would carry Von and the O-Block entourage speeds off from the scene too, and what followed next was absolute chaos. As Louis' seemingly lifeless body lays in the parking lot with a gunshot wound to the head, he's surely dead. But now, as the two main groups involved in the fight have fled the scene, what's left is a war zone, as the stretched-thin cops battle to preserve the integrity of the crime scene as people run all over. Cops do their best to guard Louis' body, as well as the pistol that he was firing and dropped when he was shot.
That's crazy. Shot in the head.
Bro, go over there. I'm trying to see my friend. Yeah, leave around for Brady to get in, please.
And in what can only be described as a miracle, as the frantic officers try and get a handle of the scene, Louis actually wakes up, regaining consciousness, but unable to answer any questions as he sits on the ground bleeding from the bullet in his
That's wild.
head. Meanwhile,
damn, man.
Shell-shocked cops do everything they can to save his life and keep him awake whilst they await emergency medical services.
Real, he's ACB. Can I get Grady to step it up? You got any gloves or anything? Yeah, I got gloves. What's the ETA for that telling me I'm shot in the head? A lot going on. Tell me where you need a couple of my officers to 5-9 and they'll be there in around. I'm not sure. How old are you, bro? 75 Trinity and Grady. I copy. How old are you? 1504 to ratio 34 to Officer Francois. Copy, you need a 4 for an officer?
Damn.
Hey, bro. Advise what's going on there. You alright? Yo, go back over there. Over there. It's just unit number. Advise what's going on.
Damn, bro.
Condition is the boot. 6858, sir. Can I get an ETA on the Signal 50 suspect that I shot today? How many more suspects? Just leave it there. Don't clear it. Just leave it there for me. Right, Chevy took my boat. I was on the thing, sorry.
Keep talking, bro. Keep talking. Keep talking. Keep talking. No. He's scared. He's scared.
Damn, he just woke up.
Keep talking, bro. Heck up! Heck up! I ain't gonna ask you all that. We can't get a tourniquet. Watch out. I got a tourniquet. You can get one? You can't put a tourniquet. You can't put a tourniquet on the head, bro. Just go there. Hey, family. Yo! No. Over there. Everybody, step back. No. Hey, back up. Yo, back up.
On 26 on the 63.
I shot him. Keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
I got 20. He's going to be vehicle number 34734.
How are you, bro?
Okay, the male I got 20. He's going to be vehicle number 34734.
After the chaos of the shootout, things would remain hectic at the scene. Body cam footage of the police securing the scene after the shootout would later surface. This included a crazy moment where the overwhelmed cops would discuss putting obstruction charges on the surviving people they had detained at the scene, with one apparently trying to sucker punch someone else they had in custody.
So I need you to do me a favor, alright? So the guy who got OC, he's gonna get charged.
The guy who is what?
Who got OC, he's gonna get charged.
Okay.
Okay, I need you to get charged on it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you basically what happened.
Okay.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, give me a look. Alright, so basically, we are all in the middle scene. Alright, we have this gentleman right here, whose information we're gonna collect. He was standing there, he was supposedly there were 50 suspects, supposedly. We had him detained, we were able to move him. This guy comes running around the corner trying to sucker punch him. While we have him detained in our possession. Okay? He tried to sucker punch him, I tried to grab him. He resisted. I think somehow we broke apart. I went over to the left to engage other people. It was a mess. Alright? Hey, listen, give me a second. While I'm in a tussle, right, we're trying to take people out of the way, blah, blah, blah. We got our supposed 50 suspect and moving him out. This dude, the guy who got OC, he comes up. So we got him against the SUV. Imagine this is a SUV right here.
Okay.
Imagine the SUV right here. We got him, we're moving him this way. So here comes this dude, OC guy, like trying to swing on him like this, while we have him detained with his cuffs behind his back. But you know how that would go if you got hit from this guy while we have him cuffed. So I confront him, I basically check him, I try to grab him, he may resist. There's a whole bunch of confusion going on. So we try to push people this way, push people that way, blah, blah, blah. I turn around and come back, Larka and Francois, I believe. I engage with them. They got a pinned against a vehicle. Okay? They got a pinned against a vehicle on the side. And while
this guy sucks at explaining things.
While we're trying to cuff him, he's still resisting. He's not about to get cuffed. You understand? He's physically resisting. Like we're trying to turn him around. It's not happening. So I see that, and one of his buddies is also beside him. He's not letting us take him either. He's like trying to hold on to him or something, do something weird shenanigans. So I spray him. He runs off. I trip and fall. I come back around. I see the dude still resisting. Bring out my OC, and I spray him. That's how this dude got sprayed.
Okay. So you sprayed that dude?
This dude right here.
Okay.
So he's getting charged with obstruction.
Okay.
Okay? Sorry. This is our OC guy. This is our guy who's trying to suck my shit. Okay, this is OC. I'm going to call OC guy.
I ain't trying to suck no officer.
This person is most likely Boss Top from O Block, as he appeared to have been arrested and in
on
body
his
cam
birthday? Damn, the day after his birthday. That's how you know you had a good birthday, but also a bad birthday, because you know.
footage of him being processed at the hospital the next day. He spoke about how he felt after being pepper sprayed.
Spray all it up. I'm like, I'm down. Spray my mouth. Boom. Spray some more. I'm like, still spraying for.
Meanwhile, as this hellish scene was finally being locked down, Quando had desperately tried to save a wounded Lil Tim's life, taking him to a nearby hospital, broadcasting this life or death situation, but things were actually much more complicated, as Quando was actually being strategic, broadcasting this moment on IG Live as an insurance policy.
Come on, he's shot. Come on, bit, bro, you got up. Come on, cuz, just keep breathing, bit, bro. Just keep breathing, cuz.
Hold on, you can't move on that fast,
You got it,
bro.
my fault.
Yeah.
Man, he's shot. What you mean wrong side? Come on, man, please. Come on, all right.
Okay.
Get him a wheelchair. Man, what you mean I gotta stay right here? Man, we need to get him. Man, we need to get him back there ASAP.
I'm calling.
I put man.
In front of the exit. Sit down so you won't fall out,
Ma'am, how? He done been shot before.
Okay, sir. 10 phone. Can I get some assistance out there? Sir. Medical self route if you move it.
Ma'am, let me hold your phone. Please.
It's 8757.
8757. Ma'am, we need a wheelchair.
I just called. I can't do more than what I can do. They got to come from the emergency. Y'all
Man,
drove
I'm
down
straight,
here.
man. Ma'am, yes,
Why
ma'am.
y'all didn't go right to the emergency room?
Ma'am, how we get there, man? We need help.
10 phone stars. I called. Y'all got some gloves?
Hold on, man, get him a wheelchair, man. What we doing? What y'all doing, cuz? Man, what you mean? Man, we can't take him around there. That man gonna die.
You were better off walking.
Walking around.
To the emergency whenever.
Man, how can you show us?
As it turned out that King Von and his crew had turned up to the very same hospital, with THFA even claiming in a story post after he had rushed there finding out what had happened to Von, bragging that he would have killed Quando if he wasn't on IG Live. Von would obviously arrive to the same hospital in the end, and there's been mixed reports over exactly what happened in his last moments alive. Initial reports claim that he died during a life-saving surgery.
His manager and Ruby said that he died during surgery done up. That's what I said too. That's what I was thinking too. But like, they should have left him there. That's already putting too much. He's already giving too much like physical power of him lifting him up on the car, him like driving him all the way to the ambulance, and he's like already like should have left him there, put pressure on every wound that you could, and then wait for the ambulance to come.
With some people speculating that he had lost too much blood. One story spread by Von's cousin Balo claimed that Von actually woke up after 2 surgeries and went into shock, attacking nurses and yelling that he was looking for his gun, something he would elaborate on in a 16-shot interview. However, it was claimed that this story was ultimately false, with an investigative report being circulated by DJ Academics showing that Von actually coded upon arriving to the hospital and was given 3 doses of epinephrine and shocked 5 times, which sadly didn't save him. Ultimately, Von's time of death was pronounced at 4:48 a.m., just an hour and 26 minutes after he was shot. Meanwhile, Lil Tim would be arrested for the murder of Von whilst recovering in hospital, charges he would later beat on the basis of self-defense. But sadly, what happened next was one of the most disappointing stories in recent hip-hop history. The devastating loss of King Von saw the once buzzing O-Block empire crumble, as the group, which was once the most popping posse in all of gangster rap, saw many of their main members and rappers taken off the streets. Many, including Muwop, would be locked up for the murder of FBG Duck just months before the death of Von.
That was crazy.
Others would find themselves going in and out of incarceration for other reasons. FBG Duck just months before the death of Von. Many others would find themselves going in and out of incarceration for other reasons like Boss Top. Years would pass by when O-Block Louie would ultimately be in and out of incarceration for other reasons like
What do you do? The offender status?
Boss Top. Years would pass by when O-Block Louie would ultimately be charged, but unfortunately, Louie would never have his day in court regarding this charge, as he would suddenly pass away on the 1st of February.
What? He died?
2025, allegedly.
Oh, he barely died. Damn, RP Louie, dog. What?
Day in court regarding this charge, as he would suddenly pass away on the 1st.
Wow. Damn, everybody died then. I didn't know Louis didn't make it. I thought Louis was the only one that made it. Dang, that sucks, bro.
February 2025, allegedly the result of an overdose.
Passed away from an OD. That's so crazy.
But the most disappointing fall of all was none other than Lil Durk. After years of King Von claiming that he was the biggest gangster in Chicago, rapping that if he died, his friends would slide every day and boost the murder rate, cruel fans would start a Slide for Von campaign, an online campaign targeting Von's friends and begging them to get revenge for Von's death. A number of people from gangs affiliated with Von, like O-Block and 600, were seen going after the people they thought were responsible. 600 members Mimo and Breezy were seen heading to Savannah, Georgia and Baton Rouge in alleged public declarations against Quando Rondo. Quando Rondo and his entourage were stalked developed all around the country as
I
plots
heard
to
about that.
Quando and Lil Tim were carried out, including an intended assassination in Waycross, Georgia in May 2021, where an alleged 100 shots were allegedly fired, and even more shocking, in August 2022, when Quando Rondo and his cousin Lil Pab were ambushed by a group of shooters allegedly sent from Chicago to kill Quando. The shooters unfortunately failed to kill Quando and ended up taking the life of his innocent cousin Lil Pab, and as a result, King Von's best friend Lil Durk, who at this point was probably the most popping rapper in all of hip-hop, was indicted in 2024 on murder-for-hire charges, which alleged that he actually masterminded the murder in an effort to actually slide for Von. This could be the end of Durk's career and serves as a sobering lesson for the youth. Don't
R.I.P. King Von. Free Durk.
Bye, have a great time.